What is up, Kick and Bass fam? In today's video, we are going to be talking about buildups. Buildups are, if not more important than drops in house music. They really set the tone for the energy that you're creating on the dance floor. And they are where you build tension in your tracks. And tension is super important because that's, in order to have a release, you need to have some tension built up in the first place. So in this video, we're going to be going, I have a little loop, and we're going to be working backwards from that loop, essentially creating a buildup for that drop. So this is a way a lot of people produce, is like maybe they start with like a drop idea, drums, bass, some synths, vocals, whatever, and then they kind of work backwards and do the buildup. That's just one way to make a track. And some of the techniques we're going to be talking about a lot are automation. That's probably one of the most important things you want to think about when you're producing a build-up for your track, is what can I be automating. We're going to be talking about like some drum arrangement ways, especially in house music, to keep the drums interesting throughout a build-up and have some continuity, but there also be some changes. We're going to be making our own riser. Well, maybe not making our own riser, but we're going to be maybe using some presets that weren't initially intended as a riser to create a riser. So risers are really great, and especially if you can make your own, you can really have them fit your track as opposed to just going on Splice or Sample Pack, dragging in some effect samples. Those can be great, and those can be really good supplementary effects, but I think having your own riser can really give the track some identity. So those are three things we're going to be going through while we do this build up. And this is just coming from my techniques as a producer that I've learned over the years. There are endless ways to create tension and to build up into a drop in your track. There's no one right way or one right style of doing it. Some are going to be more subtle, some are going to be more in your face. That's for you as a producer to kind of figure out, well, what do I like to do? How do I want the tension on the dance floor to, be created? And over time, that will become your signature sound, the way you kind of approach buildups and do things like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want access to the full tutorial as well as project files and many other tutorials that we have, go to www.kick-bass.com and you can sign up for our community and get access to everything. I hope to see you there. All right, so we made our own riser that we are in complete control of the speed. We could do something cool where it goes really fast and then slows down at the end. And we haven't even talked about creating like gaps, but I like to create little like drum gaps here. We could add a nice filter here. We can do any of those like effects automations that we wanted to do before. You really should just be experimenting as much as possible. And I swear to God, you can't over automate in a buildup. You can over automate in the sense of your things cannot really fit the vibe of the song well and feel like that. But I think in terms of, doing subtle automation and getting things moving, no one's going to be like, wow, it could be like it doesn't sound pleasant, but the idea of like changing a lot of things is never going to be a bad thing. So I would say automate as much as you can. At least 2 to 3 things per sound is gonna create a good result in my opinion. And you notice we haven't even added any effects at this point. So now what we can do is we can go in, and now we can go add in our like down sweeps and stuff. So I think I have some in here. Let's check it out. Down sweeps, down lifters. So now we'll add our little down lifter here. And because we didn't add these in the beginning, we're not relying on them to create tension and release. We're just using them to like supplement the main idea. Because if you rely on them, then you're gonna like naturally not put as much time and effort into creating like a solid idea, and that's the most important thing for a build-up. All right, so we got down lifter. Let's do like, I think they're called uplifters, yeah. So let's add like one of these. These are all in like a sidechain group. Probably turn the sidechain down a little bit. So now we get that extra noise there. Cool, right? So that goes in, you know, a couple other things, and you can watch my video on snare rolls. So if you go to my channel in the Discord, I think it's one of the earlier ones. So if you scroll up, I have a whole video on like how I, you know, make a snare roll for something like this. But you could have a snare roll running like the whole time. So if I just look up, let me find like a really quick snare roll. Snare roll. All right, whatever. It doesn't sound great, but like, let's say we have this, for example. You know, you could have this run from the start. And, you know, I would say if you have a snare roll run from the start, it's probably good to like filter it in or do some volume automation. But, you know, what I like to do is like have it come in halfway. You know, a lot of things that I've been playing with as well recently have been like kick rolls. So you could do like a kick as double as fast. Sometimes I like to like shorten the kicks as well so that they're not so long and beefy. But you could do something like this. And you know what I did here is I added a high pass filter so you can kind of hear the kick coming in. You could add it with the bass too, right? Maybe one little extra one. You know, and then maybe here you put a drum fill. So like this is a whole section. This is like what we call like, I call it the pre-drop section, but this is also super important because this is like the last second you get before that drop hits. So like what you do here is really gonna have an influence on how the drop sounds. So this is where people spend a lot of time and effort. And if you listen to other people's songs, you can get ideas for things to do. But something simple could be like a drum break, for example. So if we go here, I think there's like a break section. Break. Sampled breaks. Like, so maybe take something like that. You know, and then like here, this is a whole other part of the buildup is like the release, right? So, you know, this is why it's super important to have, in my opinion, like you have so many high frequencies here. You have like snare rolls, you have synths building, you have vocals building, and like all this reverb kind of stacking up. So if your drop is just a little lacking in that, then it can sound like disproportionate, like it's heavier on one side with frequencies as opposed to the other. So what I like to do is like, I really like to put like effects here or crashes or synth shots, like. You know, something just to fill it out a little bit more. You know, maybe a crash would be good. Like something like this. You know, and this is more about drop design, of having things to fill out the drop. Because like right now, this drop could have a little bit more mids, but it's still, I think it does a decent job of matching the energy of this build. We also put a lot of stuff here, right? We put this riser, we put this, we put vocal changes and stuff. Like maybe we need the vocal here. But like maybe like, you know, or like this. Whatever. I could get carried away with this all day. But yeah, this was Buildups 101. So to recap, the three things that we really want to be thinking about for tech house buildups. Number one, the most important, is automation. What can I be doing on every sound to create some movement over time, some change? And the takeaway there is that there's no right or wrong thing to automate. Some common ones are going to be filters, reverbs, dry wets on effects, but pitching is another one. But really, it's about you as a producer to kind of find things that you like to change and that eventually will become your sound. The next thing is like arrangement changes. So instead of having the same loop run the whole time, find areas where you can take things in, take things out, bring new things in. That's going to create a cohesive sound, but still something that's exciting to listen to, where you didn't expect something to come in or didn't expect something to go away. And the third thing we talked about is creating your own risers. These can be sounds that doesn't necessarily have to be a synth. You can make risers out of vocal loops, out of drums even, but these are going to be things that are going to be like kind of main focuses that really bring energy and also can like create character for your buildups. So it can kind of like act as an atmospheric sound or set the vibe or the tone. Like if you have like a really dirty kind of dark riser where it's like creepy, that's going to make the track sound a little bit dark and harder versus something that's more super sawy, that's in your face, that might create like a different type of energy. So risers can do that. And the takeaway there is to open up a synth. You can make your own riser or go find a preset you like and automate a bunch of parameters, really dissect that preset so you can see what's going on in your synth. What is affecting this? Are there LFOs being used? Is there effects or envelopes? And then going in and Frankensteining it and tweaking things at the end. And yeah, if you want more examples of buildups, you could check out any of the coaches' track breakdown videos. They will probably go over their buildup sections there, and you can definitely see how different coaches approach the buildups. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you